afraid of grafters.
Chicken no!
Ding, ding.
Fuck, we got...
Shit, lots.
We definitely got some beers to get through then. I think, do you know what? That pineapple and Reaper Chilli looks the one. I reckon if we just get into it.
Yeah, man.
And we're starting. I am happy to welcome DMC.
DMC needs family. Ginger beer and a goddamn party. Under the railway arches, we'll raise our glasses hearty. Together we are stronger, bound tighter than the rails. With every sip of ginger, we're telling our own tales.
It's a nice little intro there.
I've never had anybody write as a jingle before.
Really?
I might cry.
DMC,
Nope, that's the wrong one.
Oh, multiples. My social media manager is going to be so happy with you.
Anyway, that's the intros out of the way. There you are. You can,
Thank you very
you
much.
can have a little sup on your own little spoils there. How was the gig? Was it last night you had something down there?
It was... What day is it today?
Monday.
Monday. It was Saturday. First time we put like a full band on in the tap room with like drum kit and full works. Yeah, it was packed.
Oh, sick.
Really good. The band 53 Degrees, absolute solid guys. They'd only formed, I think, in February, but they're already in like 60 million other bands each anyway. And they just kind of came together just to do like covers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like really professional, knew their stuff.
So has the band thing been sort of a new aspect to the venue?
It's
or?
the full band is like
Okay.
we've been trialing out bits and bats, and we've had
Like acoustic numbers and-
semi-acoustic, 3 pieces, solo people. We did open mic nights as well.
Yeah.
Just trying to get a feel for things and trying to see what works and what doesn't. But we've not had a full band on just because I was worried about the size of the actual venue, the acoustics, and suddenly if like we just get a metal drummer just pinging away and just snare blasting
It's
and
fucking deafening and
just like bouncing off the walls and just deafening out. And also the fact that like I didn't know if the PA system would actually have been able to like even keep up with a full rig.
Yeah.
So, but no, it went down really well. I was pleasantly surprised.
Nice.
Slightly drunk.
So how long have you been down at the venue then? The new tap room?
We have been there since October time, so coming up to about 9 months, I think it is roughly.
Oh, nice. And how's it all been going?
Yeah, it's been going.
Yeah.
It's good. We picked a tough time of the year to move to the premises. We were in a position where we couldn't really stay at the old premises in Wakefield anymore.
Yeah.
We'd outgrown it, and we were very much like, we've been looking for somewhere for ages and just trying to find somewhere that ticked the majority of the boxes. Like,
What were the boxes?
The boxes, like, we didn't want to be on an industrial estate, which is where you find most of the tap rooms for breweries end up, because they're out of the way, and unless you've got something worth staying for, nobody will like come and stay. And then,
Do you know what? I tried to get to that. Is it Tartarus?
Tartarus.
Potato patata.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me and I last went down there a while back to check them out, and it was, as you say, it's like a sort of totally awkward as fuck location. And we got there and it was fucking closed. I think we got there like an hour early. So
just like, God damn
it. Yeah. And it's like, I can't be arsed walking all the way back to town, walking back
That's
again.
the thing. It was like finding somewhere that was as good a footfall as we could for like into town, that was close enough to town that people could walk.
But that said, though,
to it and back.
Northern Monk is like about as out of the fucking way as you can get. And I would, I think it might just be about like just finding your sort of...
Yeah, I mean, Monk have got a fairly all-encompassing sort of like, you could spend the entire night there. They're set up that way that you never want to leave. But yes, we basically, it was as close as I could find somewhere to city centre. That was affordable. And the fact that they were building the apartments around the area at the time. I
was going to say, because I'd said to you about that because Boom, just around the corner on Mabgate area, I know they've had worlds of hell with the developments that have been going on there, and it's just the impact it has on rent and just any number of other things.
There's a lot of factors to consider.
But I guess for yourselves, where you're at the moment, it definitely feels like the first tap room.
Yeah, for sure.
So if things went south and you had to bounce elsewhere, it is what it is, but it still wouldn't be the end of the world.
It was a good stepping stone.
And it'll be a brilliant first step into the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like we just want to be part of the Leeds, the Leeds craft scene.
Yeah,
there's like, especially in recent years, Leeds has really kind of come onto the scene for like craft beers and microbreweries.
Yeah.
And you got like between Tartarus, you got like Pig Love by the River, you've Kirkstall, you got Horsforth, you've got Northern Monk, you got North. There's a lot of hefty players now playing the game, and we're just kind of trying to squeeze in the middle.
Because me and Al had caught wind of you at the Horsforth Beer Festival last summer, and again, just what those guys are doing up there, it's an absolute oddity of a tap room.
Yeah, I mean, Mark's an absolute legend.
In the best possible way. Yeah, I've got a pal that's pals with him, and they speak very highly, but it's from making do with what they've got there. It was fucking great going down and seeing again the kind of the community aspect of what they fostered there, and because we cuckoo brewed out of Horsforth Brewery when we first started up. Mark was one of the first people to let us like brew on his pilot kit, because we didn't have nowhere to brew, and I'm just like, I want to brew some ginger beer. You can let me brew some ginger beer at your and I was like, no, you're not bringing a ginger beer to my brewery. I guess on the upside, for doing the cuckoo side, it's a little bit cleaner than your average brew scenario. So.
Yes, very much so. But yeah, to see Horsforth like from 4 years ago in lockdown to where they are now, they've like really kind of found their demographic, and they're doing really, really, really well with it.
Yeah. I've been trying a few of the more recent beers, and you can definitely taste the evolution of what they're doing
completely.
But also just like going in the place, they've got a banging fridge.
Yeah.
And I think that's
of course
a lot
they
of
do.
it as
Our
well.
stuff's in there.
But I think that's a lot of kind of drawing people to your tap room, is knowing that people can get the goods from there.
Yeah, completely. Like, it was important for us to try and get a fridge as quick as we could, because and not just for our stuff, because when we first got to the site in Leeds, we didn't even really have enough stock to put in the fridge. So we were stocking all the breweries that we liked and people that had helped us along the way, and just trying to return the favour and show that, as good, that they've supported us, we want to support them, and just trying to like really increase that community sort of like mentality.
Yeah. Oh, sick. Because I noticed that the furniture look down there is very like thrown together. It looks like I felt
the term grassroots.
But you know what it was, when I was looking at it, I was just thinking, if it was me, what would I be able to even? And I can just imagine like hitting up all of the sort of the interesting second-hand stores, and how did you source all of that stuff?
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
For days.
Yeah.
Like we had a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
We did. Because we did the crowdfunder and we raised like just over 10k, and that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it disappeared like that. I waved at it as it passed through the bank account, and we were just trying to stretch what we had left to try and furnish like the bar, the furniture, like the backboards, the cellar boards. They were an absolute nightmare. Just, oh god, fixtures, fittings.
How are you on the DIY front?
I've got a lot better over the last 8 months. Learn as I've gone along.
I think that's for the people that I've known that have gone that route. Yeah, that's the sort of the killer moment, is just either knowing the person that can or being the person.
Yeah, like kind of like got to figure this out really quickly.
Yeah.
First point of call, can I afford to pay someone to fix this? Second point of call, how quickly can I learn how to fix it? But no, it's been a good learning curve. It's getting there. It's still evolving, like everything does. Trying to find, but people, the feedback that we get off people when they come in, they love it, because they're not expecting it. And they were kind of going, oh wow, I didn't really realise this was here, and they're like, because we try and give it with the plants up and the fairy lights and that whole kind of like, not steampunk vibe, but there's a lot of kind of organic sort of like wood and copper and that kind of vibe, and everyone they feel it's very rustic and very, very grassroots. I think is a word we get a lot.
So with the crowdfunding aspect, I didn't get a chance to give it a proper scan, because you can obviously see who contributes. Was it lot of local people? Was it family? Were there like sort of individual large donors? Or
we had a couple of big, hefty people that put a wedge in. We had a couple of investment from some other businesses that we work with.
Oh, nice.
That they kind of wanted to see us get on the map.
That is really fucking cool.
Yeah. There was...
Any businesses you want to give a shout to?
Oh, yes. So, like, the Raven Forge. They're an amazing online web shop that specialise in fantasy TV and film weapon memorabilia predominantly. So, like, weapons from Assassin's Creed. They've just signed, actually, this massive deal with Ubisoft to be the only manufacturer of all the Assassin's Creed weaponry for the games.
Oh, one of the managers at work today was wearing an Ubisoft cap, actually.
But yeah, Ravenforge, Tom and Sam Ive, absolute legends. They started out about the same time we did at this little shop in Shibton, and they've grown massively. But they were supporters of us from the very beginning, and so we did a collaboration. They bought the Brew Your Own Beer package that you could buy on the crowdfunder.
Oh, okay.
So the Ravenforge Stout was the collaboration that we did to brew a beer for them.
Do you know what? I think that's where the name was ringing a bell with something, because I've obviously been doing a lot of reading about DMC over the past few days. Cheers for doing this, by the way. It was a very last minute thing of like,
it's
I've
cool,
been
man.
Obviously wanting to kind of kick back and get this show rolling again, and so just been asking everyone. And you were like, yeah, should we do it Monday? Fucking, let's do it Monday.
Yeah, it's like, when can you do it? I can do it tomorrow. After that, flat out.
Yeah. What you flat out with then?
So
Heavy brewing schedule?
Yeah, we're doing a new brew on Thursday morning. We have just confirmed last week that we're doing a collaboration beer with Valhalla Bar in York.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing a ginger beer that they're going to exclusively.
Obviously, you've got your Valhalla.
I've not brought the Valhalla.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the ones I didn't bring.
Is that the apricot or peach?
It's the spiced orange cinnamon star anise.
That's the one. Yeah, with the. Has it got star anise on the label?
Probably not. I'm going to say no.
Because that's a pretty fucking powerful flavour profile.
It is. We had to tweak it several times just to find that balance. The star anise is quite underlining. The cinnamon's more at the forefront.
Yeah.
And it's a very divided opinion. People that love cinnamon love it, and those that don't can't touch it. So the people that drink Valhalla will drink nothing but Valhalla.
Yeah.
And people that don't drink it never touch it. Whereas like the other flavours, people kind of like mixed reactions about who's his favourite and what, but Valhalla is a very Marmite situation. People either they love it or it's not for them at all.
Yeah, I last tried that. That was one of the beers she tried last summer, and star anise, as soon as she drank it, she was like, "Ooh, what is that?" And it was just picking out. I think she literally said that we were looking on online as to what was in the beer, and it was like, "Yep," and she picked it out. But that was a definite memory from last summer of just how fucking fiery that beast was.
Yeah, they are fiery ginger beers, but they're done in such a way that like they're all natural. The fire's the organic side of the brewing process, as opposed to other ginger beers that don't use real ginger. They'll use powdered ginger. It gives it a completely different sort of flavour profile. It's almost like drinking a gingerbread biscuit.
Yeah, okay. Shit, so that's how they do it, like at the industrial level. Like, so what, the Krabbies of the world, or?
That's what Krabbies do. Krabbies steep it in ginger powder to get the flavour, but it has, because it's that dry kind of like bite at the back of the jaw rather than that kind of fresh, floral, citrusy palate that you get.
I just had a try of, is it Henwin? I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I just tried Henwin, and it is an incredibly smooth. Like, I'm not a ginger beer fan, so like, I'm a fan of you guys just as a concept, just because it's like supporting. Just it's a cool venture, and our lass likes it, and it's just it is what it is. So it's like wanting to just be helping the local scene. But trying this, it's like I'm a fucking convert. It's like
we do love converting people. We're undoing people. There's not a great selection of ginger beers out there. You know,
just to stop you quickly, that Henwin is fucking decent.
We used so it's made with Yorkshire rhubarb from Tomlinson's, which is like the heart of the rhubarb triangle.
Yeah.
And all the elderflower is hand foraged.
Rhubarb, elderflower, and
ginger.
Organic ginger.
Mm-hmm. So we have to
4.3 is it?
4. Just bang on 4. We have to wait until the elderflower is in season and flowering before we can make it. Because we go out and we forage about 20 odd kilo of elderflower, and then we have to basically manually depetal all of the elderflower to get like 4 kilos worth of petals, which is what we use in the actual brew.
So I'd done a bit of digging. Obviously, during the lockdown, we all did our things, and one of the things that you ended up doing was the Death Metal Chef.
Ah, the YouTube videos.
What was it called? Was it
Yeah, Death Metal Chef.
And I'd seen on that you'd done a lot like the wild garlic foraging.
Yeah.
Was that like something that you'd done a fair bit of from your chefing time?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always been interested in like foraging, and because everything grows naturally one way or another. It's just it's just finding where it is and using things as naturally or as simplistically, organically as they can be in an unrefined or unprocessed sort of way. Like wild garlic's one of my favourite things to use, especially when it's in season, and there's a million things you can do with it. But same for like berries and fruits and other edible flowers, and again, it just comes from like me interest in when I used to like make mead at home, and we just see what was forageable at the time, and then just throw together a demijohn and just leave it for about a year or two. And
we had our pal Tom Plant on from Ton Plant Cidery recently. And a lot of what they're doing is about just the local foraging, and it's just whatever's in season, whatever's local to where they're working from. And it seems such a holistic approach to doing what they're doing, but also that kind of like, I don't know, it's authenticity.
You're just going back to your roots.
It creates such an authentic product, because isn't ginger beer a Yorkshire?
It was invented in Yorkshire.
1700s?
1700s. Basically it started when like the spice trail was prominent, and they'd bring spices and other things from the east, and they would import ginger from China, and they'd sell it at the docks, and whatever was left over they'd fill the barrels with water and sugar cane and lemons, let it wild ferment, and then they'd sell it to pubs. And that, like, ginger beer was the staple alcoholic drink in every pub in England for about 150 years. It's only when it went over to America when Prohibition came about that then the Americans turned it into a soft drink. After then, Coca-Cola dominated the market, and ginger beer just kind of fell off the side. But in its original form, the OGB is the original alcoholic ginger beer that like your ancestors would have been drinking about 400 years ago.
Well, I'm going to crack some OGB then, motherfucker, and you can carry on telling us about the fermentation aspect of things. I'm super curious, because when you say sugar, lemon, and ginger, and then it just does its thing and creates the alcohol, would there be any other aspect that would be needed in that situation, or could you technically create alcohol from that and time?
Yeah, you could just any sugar in any form, fructose, sucrose, any form that sugar can be utilised, yeast will find a way. Like
just in the atmosphere a lot of the time. Yep, as well. Yeah,
quite easily. Like people have been brewing booze for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and they've been doing it quite easily without 40 barrel breweries, and there's massive manufacturing like industrial sites. For plenty of time, people would just water, sugar, wild yeast, let it do its thing. In essence, that's what yeast does. It eats sugar and it shits out ethanol. The side product you should have with CO2.
I should have a sip of the OGB.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, there's a little bit more of a sharpness there that you didn't get with the Henwin.
No, there's again
the rhubarb masks that.
The rhubarb has OGB's wonderful because it is as simplistically simple as it gets.
Yeah,
it is just you've got molasses in there, you've got lemons, you've got ginger, and that is literally your flavour profile. Just a bit of acidity, a bit of tannins, a little bit of molasses, and just ginger. There's nowhere to hide with it.
You'd said with when you were making the is it Dean of the Dead? Tales from the Crypt beer, the pineapple and Carolina Reaper peppers. You'd said with that beer, deferring. No, it's a beer. My brain is just so frazzled right now with how to talk on this stuff.
They are all technically beers. They're all ginger beers.
Yeah,
Ginger beer is what it is.
With that one, you'd said that the pineapple kind of aspect of it kind of made up the sugar contingent, so you didn't have to add in as much.
We didn't add as much, because every recipe has a different sugar ratio content depending on what
the sugar content,
what the fruit is,
the adjunct.
There are some things that have more of a fruit content than others. Whether it could be just like with the Carolina Reaper and pineapple, because we use about 300 litres of pineapple juice in a normal brew. It takes the ABV 2/3 of the way there already. So you're just topping it up.
Yeah.
But then other things the henwen, which the rhubarb doesn't have as much sugar content as normal, but it is there.
Yeah.
Because everything has sugar in one way or another.
So with the OGB, you've added in, as you say, molasses. Is that something you look to do to include a natural element so you don't have to entirely rely on just straight up sugar?
We do it because it was part of the original recipe.
Okay.
They would use bootstrap molasses.
Booze?
Bootstrap. So it's like kind of the left. So when they'd make molasses, it would be normally what was left over at the bottom of the barrel.
Let's rewind it a bit because I'm a bit tup. What are molasses?
Molasses is when you make when they refine sugar and it's reduced down, it's like kind of the slurry that you get at the bottom of it.
Okay.
It's like the leftovers.
Yeah.
That was what bootstrap was in its original form. It was just like the original version of treacle.
Yeah.
But
So it's like
molasses has been
nose to tail from the sugar industry.
Yeah, but molasses nowadays it's pretty much black treacle.
Okay.
In modern day terms.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So it gives it a little bit of depth. It gives it a little bit of body. It gives a very subtle caramel tone, which you don't notice unless you are looking for it.
Okay.
And it does give it, and it gives it, depending on it, also kind of adjacent to the colour, because ginger beer by itself only has no colour at all. As you can see with the OGB, it's just a normal transparency colour, but molasses gives it a little bit more of a, just a bit more body.
Is there much clearing involved when you?
We don't use finings, and we don't clarify any of our ginger
because I know
beers.
they're all vegan beers, but I just wondered in its natural state whether they were.
Yeah, I mean, some of them do come out clearer than others, but that's just down to time.
Yeah,
it's just gravity and time.
Yeah.
Cold tanks, and if it's got
what stage in the overall feed of the cans they arrive?
Some ingredients will have a higher fluctuation than others, and you're going to end up with some that are just really hazy. So the henwen's probably quite hazy because it's still quite fresh out of the tank.
Okay.
Something like the ales from the crypt's probably slightly less. The chack that'll be quite hazy because of the cacao nibs. So
on coffee of this one, isn't it?
No, it's ancho chili.
Oh, sorry.
Ancho chili and cacao nib.
Was there another one that was coffee and cacao?
It's the Niame. Now, it's not got coffee in it per se.
Okay.
So this was a collaboration we did with our neighbours 3 doors up, Maud Coffee Roasters.
Pink peppercorn, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, come real. Cascara is the fruit from the coffee plant. So when you get a coffee bean, it's the bean out of a fruit, like a cherry. And cascara is the actual fruit that is covering the actual coffee bean.
Oh.
So people use it for making fruit teas. It has this kind of slightly cherry stone fruit sort of flavour to it. So we wanted to do a collaboration with them for ages, but we didn't just want to do just another typical coffee stout or something like that. And we were chatting with Matt, the guy who owns it, and we're like, what have you got that's a little bit different? It went, I've got this stuff over here, no one wants to fucking ever touch this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm interested. Game on. And so when they explained to me in depth about cascara and stuff like that, and I was like, all right, cool. So we took some away, and we did a couple of infusions just to see what the flavour profile was like. And Elle was like, right, I've got some ideas, because Elle's head brewer.
This is Elle, your partner.
Yes.
Life partner, business partner. And
wife, business partner, life partner, mother of my children, queen of cats.
How many cats you got?
2.
Nice.
2 cats, 3 daughters, no life.
D, M, and C.
Also stands for the initials. So DMC stands for, it's an ongoing kind of like thing. No one really knows what it stands for, and we change it all the time just to wind people up.
Yeah.
At this point, it could stand for the children's initials.
It is fun when you got one of those scenarios where you can just play with it. It's definitely gives an extra aspect to things.
So she wanted to. So she was like messing around with the cascara and the ginger, and she was like trying to do this and that, and she was like, "Well, it needs something to bridge it." And we'd done a previous drink that we never really kind of released commercially, that involved pink peppercorn. Now, from my chefing days, I used to love using pink peppercorn in desserts because it worked really well. We used to, I was saying like, try putting some pink peppercorn in. And she did, and it was like, yeah, that's the money right there. It slaps. And so then we brewed a couple of test batches, went back to Maud Coffee Roasters, went, all right, guys, have a try of this. And they were just like, that's so weird, but I really like it. And I'm like, it's perfect answer, we'll go with that. And then, yeah, we put it out there.
So how have you found that like the developing of potential new recipes transfers sort of upwards when you take it to the tanks? Because I'm assuming a lot of these experimentations will be in the home.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of trial and error. You've got to just roll the dice because upscaling a recipe isn't just as simple as multiplying the numbers.
Yes, we've had this conversation before. Yeah, when it comes to the bigger tanks and them operating that little bit differently, and just quickly though, the darkness is incredibly apparent on this. The difference on the hue across these so far has been quite telling. There you are, Nicole. Oh, this one.
Which one's that?
This is the one you were just talking about.
The
I'm not going to try and pronounce it. All of the names are fucking awkward as hell.
Yeah.
She says with pride.
Yeah.
There's a definite thing. It's
there's a
not Viking, not.
It's not
rune, but
no.
It's all dancing around that world.
It's kind of like
know?
it's.
I could be a metal Viking. I could be any number of things. I could be like an Aztec warlord.
You could be shamanistic. You could be. You could be just rolling some dice, playing D&D.
This one looks like Aztec.
So Mayan or Aztec of South America. I mean, all the names have particular meanings and represents certain things. So like Henwen is the name of a Celtic goddess that they would worship at summertime for a good fertility of crop.
Sounds like a lovely Welsh name.
Henwen translates in Welsh to white pig.
Which was my nickname.
The Chak is the name of a Mayan rainforest god who was like the Aztec version of Thor. So they would pray to him for like good rain and stuff like this. Niami, I think she is it's a river spirit in Africa somewhere. Elle does the research on most of this.
Okay.
And I leave her to do her job.
So Niami, this is all kinds of what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, big old bag of that.
So what would you say is the sort of the flavour that really is to the forefront?
For me, I would probably say initially for me, you get the cascara, you get this kind of like stone fruit, this kind of like cherry tea kind of flavour, and then you get this like kind of floral spice from the peppercorn, and then the ginger just kind of comes in at the back end.
That's basically it. There's just that sort of something, not savoury, but
it's just really unusual.
It's that certain something of a savouriness, but that isn't like that spice element of something that then gives way to, as you say, everything else behind it. But
goes really good with gin.
I'd read as well, you were saying about the pairings that are possible with these.
There's a world of pairings. We're just about to release the summer cocktail menu for the tap room.
Oh, okay.
So we kind of like did an initial stage one set of ginger beer based cocktails to see what we could tweak around with. And now I've got my bar manager Scott on, and he's got a really decent background from the hospitality side. So we sat down, had a little tweak on certain things, and then now we're going to release a revamped version of that for summertime, which we'll have running like Thursday to Saturday.
Nice.
So they're all kind of like ginger beer orientated, but then tweaked ever so slightly as well.
I think once you've got like a decent range of cocktails in the house, it's a game changer for your bottom line on the bar. Fucking fantastic money earner on those.
Yep.
But Yeah, but also just to give people that extra choice on things. Some of these flavor profiles just pair so well. Like I found that the big sort of beer trend of a few years ago, sour beers, those paired with the G&T like fucking gangbusters, like just insanely so well. And it's criminal that more people didn't push that angle. But
it is unfortunate. I mean, like, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's like, I'm going to take a cocktail and I'm going to take my mixer out and I'm going to put more alcohol in. And I'm like, yeah, sign me up.
Fuck yeah. I think we need to step to another one now. I was curious, though, when did the brewery start? Was it 2000?
It's 2000.
2000?
Yeah. Sorry, 2020.
I'd read online, I'd seen 2018 floated as a date. Was that when the experimentation started? Or?
It started with... Elle started it.
Yeah.
So it would have started 18 months before lockdown. And that was March 2019. So if you go back, it would have been... It was the Christmas before...
So Christmas 2018.
2018. We're going to lockdown in 2019. It must have been 2020 we went into lockdown.
We did, yeah.
So 2020, then back to March 2019. So it'd been, Christmas of 18. It all started because Elle was sick of me moaning about just shit ginger beer. Because big ginger beer fan, and there was only Krabby's out there that was the alcoholic version. And I initially drank it because there was nothing else, and then I kind of was like, I just don't enjoy it. It's just too sweet, and it's not got what I'm looking for. And I'm a chef, and I'm a snob, and I'm a pain in the arse, and I like to complain. That's the way we roll. And I'd been moaning for ages, and we'd homebrewed just for ourselves anyway for years anyway, making mead and ciders and doing bits and bats. And Elder was just, right, that's it, and she just stormed off one day and then a week later she comes back with a demijohn. She's like, right, there you go, slams it down. And obviously it was she just transferred it. It was like, so she went, ginger beer, alcoholic ginger beer, and I'm like, cool. So
Elle is basically the coolest.
She is. She's an absolute awesome sauce. So I then drank all of it, nearly probably in one sitting, and took a couple of bottles in for my chefs in the kitchen at the time, because at Christmas time I said, Elle's brewed this up, and they had a couple of, I think they shared like 3 bottles between like 5 of them, and they were just like, you got any more? And I'm like, no. And then the following year, she brewed it again to more of a traditional, like, kind of, let's brew the ginger beer again, Christmas time. But once the chefs got word about it, they were all putting in pre-orders for it.
Oh.
So, like I said, I was saying to her, like, you might want to brew a little bit more than this because the boys at work all want some. And so then I took it in and started handing it out, and everyone loved it. And then, we got round to March time, lockdown happened, and then suddenly I've gone from working like 85 hours a week, stressing my head off, massive insane pressure as a head chef, to just nothing, just radio silence. I'm just sat at home in lockdown, just don't know what to do. And I'm like, I think I slept for like 5 days pretty much straight through, and then I woke up and I'm like, what do I do? And I've just got the twitch, and then I started like doing the YouTube videos and doing other things, and just trying to find something to occupy myself, because I just didn't know how to just
switch off.
Yeah. And I think I was sat in the garden. It might have been about back end of April time, and we'd been in lockdown for about a month at that point, and everyone's going crazy, and I'm just like, I'm just like 9:30 in the morning, sat in the garden just drinking ginger beer, which like would be frowned on now, but at the time everyone locked down, they was just like, yeah, of course I'm drinking at 9:30 in the morning.
Heralded as a hero to stay at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm sat there in the garden just drinking the ginger beer, and I'm like, I need to find something to get me out of the industry, or else when this all changes, I'm just going to go back into the industry and I'll never get out. And I'm drinking and just looking at the beer, and I'm just like, light bulb moment, and I'm just like, Elle, come outside. And she came, what's up? I went, we're going to open a ginger beer brewery. And she was just like, shut the fuck up. Just walked back inside. I'm like, and chased after a bottle and one time. I'm like, no, listen to me. I'm like, we're going to do this. And she was like, no one's going to buy it. Oh, no, they will. I said, one, it's an amazing product, but there's no one else doing it. I said, it's not a matter of just capitalising on that. I said, it's a niche product, but there's no competition. I'm like, so there's not a better opportunity to try and showcase a product without it being completely already an oversaturated market. I said, because then people could just see it for what it is. And we're back and forth, and she was just like, nah, you're drunk, shut up. And I'm like, not yet, I'm not, but it's like, when I come back to this conversation in an hour, I will be. But I persisted with it, and I think she was very much like, look, if you can find people that'll buy it, I'll brew it. And I was like, oh, right. So we put some adverts out on Facebook, just saying, anybody want any dodgy, knocked off homebrew ginger beer? And people did. And it then kind of snowballed from there.
So what did the first sort of batch of it? How were you?
Oh, it
how
was
were you bottling
rocket
them up? What did it
fuel.
look like?
We didn't know what we were doing at all.
How to like temper the alcohol?
Yeah, so like I didn't quite understand the concept of stabilising, because we had to back sweeten it. Because
what does that mean?
So it basically means once the alcohol's completely eaten all the sugar and it's fermented, it's a bone dry product. Imagine drinking the driest dry white wine you've ever tasted and then make it drier.
Do you know what? This one I've just had a sup of. It has hints of white wine to it. This is
the Aradia.
Aradia, yeah. This is ginger, lemongrass, kaffir lime leaves, and of course the secret blend of spices. That is, yeah, it's a nice serendipitous synchronization there.
It is. It's basically, yeah, it took off that way because lockdown happened. So then, yeah, we just snowballed from there, and somehow 4 years later we've got.
So how were you bottling them up initially then? Was it?
We were buying like plastic bottles from the homebrew shop, brew it on the kitchen top.
And what did the labels look like?
They looked like I designed them on word paint, printed them off and stuck them on plastic bottles with prick sticks.
Beautiful.
It was the most dodgiest moonshine product you've ever seen. We didn't know how to stabilise it, like, because I was still learning as we went along, because we'd never done it like that. Because initially I drank it before it had chance to re-ferment. So what you normally do is when you brew alcohol, you brew all the sugar out so that it's completely
it stops bubbling away.
Yeah.
And
then you'd force carbonate it into, put it in kegs or cans, or you bottle condition it. But when we did that, we fermented it dry, and it was just too acrid. It needed to be slightly sweet because the flavour palette was completely lost. So we'd then just add sugar to it once it had finished fermenting to sweeten it up. Not realising initially that without a stabilisation process, it would just start re-fermenting.
Yeah.
So then we ended up with these highly carbonated death bombs.
I was going to say overly alcoholized.
So the ABV crept up to like 10-11%.
Which you've got in some of the brews that you do still, I believe.
Yes, the Braggott's are an Imperial 10%er.
We'd chatted online on Reddit, I think, and you'd mentioned about, I think it was a mead, maybe.
Braggott is a mead ale.
There we go. Yeah, it was something that you'd kind of talked on being like a very fucking powerful boy.
It's very naughty. Is the Braggott? It's because it just tastes like a fortified honey beer. It's.
So what is mead?
Mead is fermented honey. It's just honey that's fermented with water.
So you're just banging the yeast in with the honey. And
yep. Most people, to make a basic mead, you take about 1.5 kilos of honey, 4 litres of water. Throw some like dried raisins in there for tannins, and add some yeast and just let nature do its job. And then, hey presto, about 6 weeks later, you got like this 15% honey wine, and that's what mead is. But Braggot is a 50-50, half grain brew, half honey. So it's like half fermented out with grain like a normal beer is, and then there's 5% of the ABV is on top of that is fermented out with honey on top. So you end up with this kind of like sweet honey flavoured deep ale that tastes like industrial bash shandy, but it's 10%. But you knock it back like it's not.
Nice.
I've seen some people in some states.
I can only imagine. It's the range of possibilities that you've got for the world that you've stepped into. As you were saying earlier, the aspect of no one else doing this, but also I think paired with yourselves being based in Yorkshire and being able to like talk on the origins of this is where it comes from. It's such an insanely brilliant position for you to be in as a business. As much as I was kind of stepping into this interview probably with more of the tact of, well, no one likes ginger ale, so clearly you're going to have to like cast the net wide across the world, and like it's going to be distribution's going to be like the sort of the linchpin to the business. It really does feel like you just need to get people to fucking try this. And just put the preconceptions on the back burner, because everyone, as you say, it's like we've got the industrialized concept in our minds, and obviously ginger is quite a strong profile in and of itself. But like the OGB and just across the board, everything I've tried there, it's like a total range.
There is a lot of versatility.
Yeah.
Versatility when it comes to like the flavour.
Like with this one being, as I said, borderline white wine territory.
There's just a lot, flavour-wise, you can just differentiate so much vastly. Not that you can't with beers, but beer predominantly will always have like a strong malt backbone, and a hop presence to it, and when you get flavoured beers, it's more of like an addition. The flavours there with it, whereas like I feel that the flavour profiles for the ginger beers, like exactly they're there, like. With the hen, when you taste it, you like there's rhubarb and elderflower slapping you in the face. It's very prominent. Yeah. But at the same time, it's still a ginger beer, and like it works really really well across the board for ginger beer. Ginger as a backbone flavour to all the other flavours seems to like really kind of allow the flavours to come through a lot more.
But it also kind of seems to punch up in varying degrees as well. So as you said, like with the rhubarb and the elderflower, it really kind of it softened the punch. But then you go to some of the others, like the OGB, bit more of a punch, but it's a slap for it. It's a gentle side graze from a supermodel. It's not even a slap. It's just a ooh. But then you go to Niami and Aradia, and then again you're back into like, there's a bit more of a punch to that one, and it really is, as you say, just each profile giving the ginger a different level to kind of step to. It's a very interesting aspect. What have been, I guess, some of the more interesting learning curve moments for you across this journey? Because in a very short amount of time, and it is what it is, but like in a couple of years, you own a brewery, and you've got the tap room there, and you've got a range of cans. Like, this is not a small amount of a selection. You rocked up with 6 different beers, and it weren't even all of them.
No.
And there's clearly been a hell of a lot of progress made. What were the sort of the bigger learning moments for you? Maybe even some of the mistakes if you wanted to.
I think learning to produce at scale.
Okay.
That was a huge learning curve for us. Learning about the methods behind like forced carbonating, and how to it's like the steps for brewing from start to finish, and the refinement technique that comes every single time you do a brew to see like, okay, how can I improve that? How can I lessen wastage? How can I cut back on like the amount of head retention that we're using? Or there's always some method and some technique that is even now still ongoing of like how do we brew this at 1,000 litres at a time? Right, okay, so we're going to need this sort of equipment, but because we brew ginger beer, it's not, the method and the practice isn't quite for like it is for brewing normal beer, but it's kind of somewhere in between a cider process and somewhere in between a beer process.
So are you able to get pointers from people, or is it
no,
entirely?
There was nobody.
It's purely you.
There was nobody.
Because that's the thing when we talk to like the community and like you wanted to get involved in the craft scene and all of these things, when you get involved, like the collab process, we can get to that shortly, but the collab process is fucking brilliant in the craft beer scene for the sake of everyone getting to learn off of each other.
Yeah, completely.
And just kind of experience the bigger kits and all of these different things. But you're out in this little old silly world of your own.
There was no one to Google. There was no. And when we tried,
And Krabby's are like, just throw some more powder in there. Go fuck yourself.
Krabby didn't even acknowledge us until last year, and they started liking our post on Insta.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, we like Krabby's then, so thank you.
Yes, I'm coming for you. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not. It was very trying to learn. Initially, when we tried to replicate the process from the homebrew stages to then being like, okay, how do we replicate this at scale? Okay, so we need this. Okay, so the process, and then like, okay, we need a lot of ginger. Just like, we need a lot of ginger. And so like, then we're like, well, okay, so so now we need like an industrial food grade wood chipper. And like, then after that, we need hydraulic presses, and then after that, we're like, right, so we can utilize 90% of a brewery kit from the grain aspect, but then we need to introduce these elements and these steps in between these parts to then get to the end product to where we are. And then it's like trying to find like trial and error for like what yeast is going to work best for it, like what's going to accentuate the flavour, what's going to give us the best result.
Have you played around much with yeasts then?
We did in the beginning. We now settle on a very neutral champagne yeast.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's called EC118, and it's just a workhorse. It will eat anything that's there sugar-wise.
Yeah.
Because you do get some like, because we also brew we brew some grain beers, and we do the ciders, and we have different yeast for different things, and certain yeasts will eat like grain sugar, but it won't. If any residue of fruit sugar over there, it won't generally eat. So you end up with like leftover sugars that the yeast won't really be interested in, or it works. Whereas like champagne yeast, it's an animal. It'll just destroy anything that comes into contact with and eat until it's completely bone dry. Which is what we need, because that gives us consistency.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about leftover sugars that might then just like kickstart re-fermenting a little bit further down the line. When it's bone dry, it's bone dry. We know it's good that way.
Yeah.
And also, with being a champagne yeast, it has a very neutral offset for that. It doesn't impart any flavours. So it doesn't. Not contaminate's the wrong word. It doesn't infiltrate the flavour palette.
Yeah.
So it keeps it very neutral. So anything that we blend into the actual like ginger beer, we know that
actually retains that. Yeah. So aside from the brewing process and those lessons, what other sorts of
naivety? I think.
Okay.
I went in,
but that got you into the game, though. You need naivety.
It was naivety because
It got you 10 grand.
It did get me 10 grand. But I was very naive. I didn't think we were going to get 5, and then it just all came, and I was like, oh, that's wonderful. I think trial and error about. I always wanted people to be far more receptive to it than initially. It was like getting the ball rolling. It was hard work, but now the ball's rolling, it's becoming easier because we've got momentum. And we've got a lot more kind of like exposure than we had done in the beginning. In the beginning, we were just like a 2-bit outfit, like dodgy people, and I called in a lot of favours from a lot of general managers and restaurant owners that owed me favours from being in the industry over the years.
Oh, nice.
I was very much like, I need you to stock our product.
Yeah.
And I was like, it doesn't even matter if it sells. I'm not bothered if it sells. I just need to be able to like.
What's the shelf life like on this?
Oh, you can get like 6 months easily.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We put 6 months shelf life for best before.
Yeah.
But in a chilled environment, like in a cold room or a fridge, you'll get 9 months out of it.
Do you find that there is anything of a noticeable quality drop? Because I know that with craft beer, that's like my big bone of contention, is that like you've got to find there's an absolute sort of Goldilocks zone with those beers, especially with the sort of more highfalutin IPAs, of just maybe, I don't know, fucking a month and a half after it's been canned, and it'll be like a 2-week window, and then after that it's
I am the same. Like that comes down to the hops more than anything.
yeah.
We don't have that per se with the ginger beers. I mean, fresher is better always, but we have. So I've got a good mate called Ev Mitchell. He's an absolute legend, and he was like one of our early supporters that would buy offers when we first started out. He lives down in Norfolk, and he's a massive fan of the Henwen, and he stockpiles it each year to last him through. And he sent me a message and a picture about 4 weeks ago saying, I'm on my last can of Henwen from last year. How long before you can up the new batch? And I'm like, we're actually doing it this week. And I said to him, is that still okay? And he's like, absolutely delicious. And I was like, wow. And he'd had it for like 12 months.
I mean, it speaks to maybe just it being an entirely different product at the end of the day.
Could be.
Not to be as basic as that, but like, it's ginger. It ain't fucking malt. And it ain't fucking...
If anything, the only thing we'll have noticed is that the ginger loses a little bit of its fire over time. But that's because ginger and gingerol, the chemical in ginger that makes it fiery, is an oil base. Similar to like how hops are oil base.
Yeah.
You know, and so eventually that kind of like the residue like dampens and the flavour's still there. It just doesn't have as much of a kick up the arse as it would do within the first 6 months.
Yeah.
But no, overall there's not much of a deterioration.
That is, I mean, it's one more tick for the Team Ginger Beer. So the naivety in what specifically, aside from...
I think it was just we had to trial and error events because we didn't have a tap room.
Yeah.
And we were cuckoo brewing for the first year and a half. And so the only way that we could like have a tap room was by doing mobile events at certain events to see like if we bought a mobile bar and showcased our products that way to try and get the word out there. And trying to do some events that just weren't the right demographic for us because we didn't know what our demographic was. So initially we were kind of like, okay, so we're a bit alternative, we're a bit metal, we're a bit, like this and it just didn't fit in that vibe. Not because there's anything wrong. It's just because metalheads don't necessarily are ginger beer fans, and we were just like, well, this is our demographic. That's who we are. Why isn't it working? So then we'd try moving into kind of like more of a grassroots. So we'd do like battle reenactment weekends, which did work really well for us because they had more of an historical, cultural heritage to it.
Yeah.
And they were all about their mead and they were all about their...
Drinking from a horn.
All of them, which we now sell. We have branded 2-pint drinking horns. They're awesome.
2 pints, fuck.
Yeah, they're huge.
Nice.
And I think it was taking the risks, doing events, not making money back on it.
Yeah.
Then thinking that this was going to be sustainable a lot earlier on than it became.
Okay.
So because this was our bread and butter. We're a family business. I was relying on this to pay the mortgage, feed my kids, and keep things going.
That is, I mean, to put it bluntly, that is a big fucking gamble.
It was huge.
Being a family, and with it being both of you doing this.
Mm-hmm. I was still working doing freelance chefing work to make sure that was done.
Yeah. But that's a big strain on you to be doing the both angles.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. It still is, but I believed in what we were doing. I was like, this is a good product. We've just got to get it out there.
Yeah.
I believed and still do that it's an absolutely banging product, and we're finding that more and more people are loving it. But initially, getting people to try it, especially coming out of lockdown. Everyone suddenly the hospitality industry was on its knees because you had about 15% of the entire workforce that never went back to hospitality because they all realised they could get paid the same for driving a van or stacking shelves for what they would do breaking the balls in the kitchen for 16 hours.
I ended up back in the office after it, so I was hospitality and then
So, like, money wasn't as good. And in my head, I'm like, why wouldn't they want to buy this? It's fucking awesome. And people just like, yeah, well, I could take some of it, but then, I'm worried about it might not sell. And just, it was difficult to get it in the door with places. And even though I spent my entire life, like, being a chef and being a head chef and working management and understanding that the nature of being front of house to back of house, like, was a difficult transition for me. Because I'm just used to just swearing at people and just getting people to do the job. So trying to, like, mediate that kind of business mentality was a steep learning curve for me. Whereas Elle, who her background is retail, she used to be a manager for Lush Cosmetics.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's got the most wonderful, sweet demeanour and wonderful, like, interactive skills and good customer service base.
Yeah.
So really, think about it, I should have been sending her out rather than me turning up and going, you want to buy some ginger beer? It's really good. But yeah, trial and error, naivety as to, like, how sustainable it would be for us. But we are getting to that point now. It's slowly getting there, but I suppose you've got to make them mistakes to learn from them. Otherwise, there's no curves to learn.
Yeah, exactly. And with the venue-wise, I mean, I can only imagine the amount of lessons being learned there.
Yeah, we knew that it was going to be tough to start with. I had no disillusion. We moved in there in October time, before there was anybody kind of living. I mean, you had Saxton just behind the area-wise, there was nothing else there. Going into winter time, dark nights, we haven't got the pavement licence, it's freezing outside, gale force winds, no one wants to be outside. Trying to convince people that there's this little door in this railway arch that leads to this ginger beer, like, haven. And then it's just like getting to Christmas time, and then we hit January, and you know what it's like in January time, it's dead.
Worst month.
And I think by February time, when I was really questioning, I was like, am I just in over my head here? Is this really still sustainable? Am I just putting my family's, like, future on the line for my stubbornness?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, should I just call it now? Do I say it was a good run, you tried your best, but then go get a normal job where I'm going to get paid? Because there was like some proper squeaky bum moments. And then it just kind of came back into it all of nowhere.
Okay.
Like, we hit March time.
Was there, like, a specific moment that you saw that?
I think, because we applied for the pavement licence, and we got granted it. And as soon as the weather became hospitable, and we had the shutter up and the tables outside... Because
it has been a shit year this year as well.
Yeah.
Really shit.
Once people were walking past and they could see inside, and everyone was just like, there's a fucking bar there. And then we started getting traction.
Yeah.
And then people started coming in. And then we started telling them about the ginger beer and how we're the only ginger beer brewery in the UK, and we're the only ginger beer bar, and, this. And then, like, we won all the Leeds Beer Awards at the end of 2023. We won, like, best brewery, best tap room, best family orientated tap room.
Was this the Olivier?
No. This was Leeds Beer.
Leeds Beer. I was trying to think of the Leeds Food Awards. Or
no, that was the
Oliver Award.
It's the Oliver Awards. Yeah, Horsforth won the best brewery for that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then we won third and first place for best beer in Leeds. Aradia came third, and the OGB was voted like the best beer in Leeds for 2023.
Great PR.
Yeah, awesome. So then after that, like, we trended for a bit, and we had, like, the Hoot come down and do a massive video, and then we had Leeds List get involved, and they did a load of coverage on us, and then we just suddenly it's like we just appeared out of nowhere on the social networking scene.
Yeah.
And then we had places getting in contact with us, like, I saw this thing on Reddit, we saw this thing on Leeds List, we'd like to get you stocked, and then traction started happening. And even though we'd been trying to get the beers up and down the country anyhow, it seemed to kind of, like, really take off a lot more in the last 6 months.
How's it gone globally?
We
Or
are
is
not
that-
global yet, but
Okay.
we actually, I have got a meeting tomorrow to discuss European distribution.
Nice.
So currently we're like Scotland all the way down to London, Wales and Northern Ireland, and then we're looking for Europe to be the next step.
Nice.
So hopefully get some like wholesale distribution. There's a couple of places in Germany and Belgium that'd be interested in taking a pallet and then just distributing it outwards from their sites themselves. Which
And getting to the beer festivals?
yeah, we've got quite a few lined up for this year.
Nice.
So we've just been invited back to Leeds International for September time at Kirkstall,
Yeah.
which is awesome. We're going to be down at Camera Nottingham Festival in October time for that's 5 days. We're going to be at Craft Beer Festival in Lancaster in September time. We're going to Evesham for the major battle reenactment weekend at the beginning of August. We will be down at We Are Beer, which is like the biggest European beer trade conference exhibition thing down at London Tobacco Docks. That's like a major one. It's like all the big headhunters go there. We'll be down there in August time. But yeah, that's kind of like that'll be the wedge through. Like,
So if you were down, you're down in London town, being rubbing shoulders with all of the big wigs that are going to turn the business around.
the ones.
You got 2 beers. You got 2 of yours to kind of sell them. What are you gonna pick?
I'm going to take the OGB
Okay.
because it's the flagship. And then it's going to be the OGB, and by the time I get down there, I'd probably either take the Henwen or I'd take the ales from the crypt.
Do you know what? I was immediately gonna say the Tales from the Crypt, but then Henwen is the second one for me.
But the
Just because of
yeah, it's
I'm gonna take a big old swig. Sorry, but yeah, it's fucking.
what started out as a joke just catapulted out of control.
Yeah, I mean, how when you're doing this, I can only imagine the amount of fucking ginger you're getting through on the reg. But sourcing the pineapple juice for this. So how much did you say you had to?
300 litres.
And how did you get that?
I had to approach a wholesale distributor that specialise in drinks because I spent ages trying to buy like a drum of it.
Okay.
But no one sells it in anything other than 1 litre cartons. They'll sell you 1,000 cartons, but they won't.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere that it's either like they either do like 1 litre, 5 litres, or you got to buy like 1,000 litre IBC tank. And I'm just like, I'm just not quite there yet. I'm stuck in that middle ground.
I was going to say, I'm getting recollections of being in breweries and seeing those big old tanks of blue vats of fruit stuff. And
Yep, they're the ones.
yeah.
We're kind of not quite at that scale yet, but soon. When we first did this, before we'd even done the collaboration beer, I'd been messing around trying to make the spiciest ginger beer in the world just because I was like, wonder how intense we can make this. So then we started adding chili to it, and it all got a bit silly. People nearly died. It did.
In those situations, though, like when you get real crazy with the chili, being in the room with it, when it's just in the air and you can't breathe.
When we brew the ales, it's a nightmare because we obviously put it in the rolling boil, and then the humidity and the steam and it's just like mustard gas in the air. It's like Elle won't be in the brewery; she won't brew that one. She's like, I'm not having no part of that.
I tell you what, if you get an illness, you'll be able to sell.
Oh yeah,
you'll be able to
absolutely
sell the
purify you.
space. You can you've got an illness, come in here. You can spend 10 minutes for a tenner in the corner there.
Pure fumigation.
Yeah.
But then, like, out of the blue, Dean got in contact with us, and it was because we knew him anyway, and he's a good lad, is Dean. And he was like, I really want to kind of try and get a set of, like, beers going like this. And I was like, I'm interested. And it's like, yeah, we're going to do this. I went, you know what, I may have something that might work. And so we got talking, and I was like, all right, I've got an idea. We'll do this. I said, but we know we need to balance it out. You'll need some fruity backbone on that, because otherwise it's just going to literally put people in hospital. So then he got Jason Miller, the illustrator, involved as well. And it's like, then we got the artwork
Why do I
done.
know that name?
Is it so? He does like kind of Crypt Keeper style illustrations and comics.
Okay, I don't know whether it's one of them where I know the name. What did we used to work with? We used to work with a guy called Jason Miller. Sorry, that's what it is. My brain.
Was he an artist?
No.
In that case, fair enough.
But collab-wise, then, have you done many others?
We've done a few band collabs. So we did a beer for Old Horn Tooth, which is like a London doom metal band.
Don't know them.
Really, really good. We did a beetroot ginger beer. That was psychedelic as hell.
Did the colour carry over?
Oh yeah.
So what did it look like? Kind of pink or
purple? Deep red purple, like beetroot juice.
Nice.
So we did a beer for them. We did a collab with Horsforth Brewery for the sour. We did a collab with Maud.
I was going to say, wasn't there a collab where you did an IPA as well?
Yes. So we do a collab with Black Iris, who are a brewery in Nottingham.
Okay.
And we dual sponsor this music festival in London for the last 2 years.
Wow.
Called Masters of the Riff, which
That
is
was the beer,
basically
yeah.
it's like a 3-day festival for like stoner doom,
Oh, cool.
dirgy,
Sort of
kind of like
Desert Fest type shit.
yeah, very similar. Smaller scale though, like 500 capacity,
yeah.
but
Well, Desert
still
Fest is
absolutely
massive, but yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much like that.
Shouts to Silverburn.
Yeah. We do a session IPA for the festival exclusively. So we'll put it on the taps for the venue, then we'll do a load of cans for all the bands backstage.
But was there like a ginger element to the IPA?
Nope.
No, just a straight down the line.
Just straight down the line,
Okay.
Reaper. So the first year round they brewed it, and then last year we brewed it, and then next year it'll be their turn, and we just take turns to brew the Reaper, and yeah, pretty much it. I mean, the boys at Black Iris, like the big metal heads, and Alex, and he's a really, really absolutely solid dude. Helped out a lot when I was like trying to learn about, because we brew an in-house IPA for the lines, and even though like I'd brewed IPAs before, like again doing it at scale by myself, it was very much asking questions like this, that, and the other. So he gave me a lot of help. He's an absolute legend.
Oh, nice. Any other breweries that you've collabed with?
Who else? I think if I've forgotten.
More importantly, who would you want to collab with?
Who would
Is there any like goats out there that either like within your world of things? I mean, are there any other like ginger beer breweries of note that you want to fuck with, or
there's no other ginger beer breweries? We are the
globally.
Globally, there's a couple
others that dabble in the ginger beer side.
I would
maybe.
love to go to. There's a couple in America that I would love to go to and see how their setup works, because because it's the fascination of like, do you brew it like I brew it, or do you do it like we do it? Or
do you know what I was going to say? The nature of how you've kind of basically worked out how the fuck to do it. As you're saying, getting a wood chipper in the mix, getting all of these things, these like just industrial machinery to just get the job done. I imagine it'd be probably a two-way street on that front, because it's just everyone learning in their own way and coming to the same end point, but maybe from different paths.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to do so if I'm going to say top 3 in the UK of who I want to collab with, I'd love to do a collab with Vault City, because they're just bonkers. I would love to come up with something really stupid. I'd love to do an Imperial brew with a brewery in Nottingham called Bang the Elephant. They
don't think I know them.
So they kind of do impy stouts and like
nice.
really, really big, juicy kind of numbers. And I'd love to do something with them because I love their beers. And I really, really want to. Well, we're meant to be doing a collab with Mash Gang. But again, they're pretty full on at the moment. But we've been talks about it.
Jordan's a solidly good fucking dude.
Yeah, totally. So
I was telling Nicole actually the other day. It's like, if you're on LinkedIn for anything, be on LinkedIn for Jordan's posts. He's fucking brilliant on LinkedIn.
I mean, I've watched his videos on Insta, and they always make me laugh. And I'm just like,
I think the LinkedIn is better than his
I will.
his posts.
I'll add him on LinkedIn. He's not on my list, but I will get him added. But yeah, initially I was like, I want to do a collab, and like initially we kind of like, should we do an alcohol-free ginger beer, or is that just too straightforwardly uninteresting? I was like, yeah, we could just do that, or we could do something really stupid. And it's like, I think we stopped talking about what we could do, and we just started talking about random shit about what we like. And it was like, yeah, no, I did this, and this, and I was like, I was in Mexico and we had some tepache, and he's like, I fucking love tepache. I'm like, I fucking love tepache. And it was like, let's make some tepache then. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, where are you gonna get fucking 100 kilo of like pineapple rind? It's like, you leave it to me. I am a master of finding the random shit. So that's still in the pipeline. Hopefully for maybe end of year or beginning of next year. But yeah, I'd say watch your space.
Yeah. Sick. And within DMC, so it's yourself and Al, as you said.
Yes.
And is it Tom?
So there's me, there's L, there's Tom who runs comms, marketing and media. We've got Ollie who does videography, socials.
Okay.
We've got Anthony who's our in-house graphic designer that does all
You've got
branding.
a full-on fucking team, Jesus.
I've headhunted as we've gone along and begged a lot. And then we got like the floor staff. So like we've got my bar manager Scott.
Yeah.
We've got other people that will come on board for when we do mobile events. But yeah, we've
But essentially, it's yourself and Al, they're kind of the captains of the ship.
pretty much.
Yeah.
L runs the brewery. I can do the operations side of it and network liaison and stick my nose in where it's never wanted. It's part of the fun.
So what are you seeing as the sort of the next, I guess, the next year of things for the brewery?
Next year, so we've still got another 2 years at location where we are.
Oh, okay.
So for me, European distribution is going to be a big one, and then looking at America as well. I think we could probably upscale the size of the brewery, and I'd probably look at taking on another one of the railway arches on the strip where we are, just for storage. So I know the one next door to us is coming up, but it's not panelled and insulated properly on the inside. But it would be fine for using as a cold cellar because temperature in the tunnels never gets warm. It's always cold in there because of the stone brick. So it's good for storing all the kegs and stuff like that. If we could upscale the size of the brewery and then have the space to actually store more product, because we're pretty tight on space as it is at the moment, then I think upscale production. We're looking at sponsoring another music festival that's majorly in Holland called Killtown, and they kind of do like tech deaf stuff, but they're quite huge in Holland and they're wanting to come to the UK with it, so they're doing their first festival in London in October time, and we're just in talks to sort out sponsoring that for the beer. If that works, then that'd be quite a big thing as well.
Yeah.
See how this trade event goes down London at Tobacco Docks. Hopefully get some heavy interest from some of the big companies that want to stick it in chains, and just upscale production to the maximum capacity we can do for the next 2 years, so that we're all set and ready to upscale the premises second time round, and then maybe just keep the tap room now, take the brewery out and put it in as a double tap room or as a live venue and tap room.
I was just thinking if everything went fucking gangbusters and suddenly you got hit with like the biggest of orders, I guess I was going to say what the hell would happen, but I can assume that maybe go back to the cuckoo type approach maybe.
We can't.
No,
because no one else has got a brewery that's set up to brew ginger beer like we do.
Ah, shit. Yeah.
I'd make it work.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
One way or another, I'd make it work. It's ideal in solutions.
Yeah.
If someone comes to me and they're like, well, we need to do this, I'm like, right, give me half an hour and a double espresso and I'll find you a solution.
Sick.
But yeah, I refuse to let anything be...
Compromise the quality.
The quality and the procedure can never be compromised.
Yeah.
It is the backbone of what we do.
Yeah,
it's organic, it's natural, it's real. It costs more to brew than normal beer brews. Like,
really?
Yeah. To use actual like raw ingredients that are organic.
Yeah.
It's like this brew that we're doing for Valhalla Bar in York on Thursday. I ordered in today like 85 kilo of actual berries. And I could use puree, or I could use extract, or I could use essence, but No, we've got like 40 kilo of black currants, 20 kilo of cherries, and 20 kilo of blueberries, another 10 kilo of black berries coming in. And we use 150 kilo of raw ginger per brew.
I'll be interested to see what happens as the business scales, because what I've found consistently, regardless of whether it's beer, food, music, anything, so often scale seems to kind of corrupt the scenario. And when it's a beautiful thing, it's made unbeautiful by...
I mean, look at Beavertown. Prime example.
Rather not, but yeah.
Like, when they first started out, like, when they were still small scale, I really loved Neck Oil. I thought it was a really decent beer. And then Heineken took it on board, which is fair play, you know. If someone turned around and offered you 7 digits for something,
Yeah.
only a fool's going to say no.
But then I would say as well that on that same conversation that there are obviously ways to do it correctly. And you mentioned Vault City up in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
They've recently, I know that they're going to be making some big movements over the next year to kind of increase what they're doing. They've just hired Lad Luca, who's got a profound history in the beer industry. Came from Canada, landed with Camden in the UK, spent some time at Northern Monk, and I can only imagine what he's going to do for that business to kind of upscale what they're bringing. And I can only imagine the quality will stay, because it is such... They are doing such a special thing.
Yeah, I mean, the last, 3 or 4 things I've seen come out of there alone.
Stupid.
You know, it's like,
I still haven't tried that. I want to try the birthday stupid that they've got.
I would
out.
be interested. Like, do you try the DDH gingerbread stout, the Imperial one?
No, I couldn't quite bring myself to buy it. Careful with the mic.
My bad.
But yeah, I've heard nothing but glowing things about it.
Yeah, I've not heard a bad thing.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody that's tried it and hasn't said it's just absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's like there's this certain beers like Putty, obviously, with, is it Verdant's Putty?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Putty does the rounds, and there's, again, I think with Putty, I did actually see quite a few people talking shit, saying they kind of got the beer at the wrong time. It's still a bit green.
I've been on this massive American craft brewery kind of phase.
Oh, okay.
So, like, one of my mates, Rob, he's really big on his craft beers, and he gets a load of the American import stuff. And he's been spoiling me with these breweries that are just producing these phenomenal dippers and smoothie sours and stuff like that. So we're actually doing like a party this week starting on July the 4th, and it's like an American brewery celebration party.
Yeah.
So we've got like
oh wait, so yeah, I'd seen July 4th, obviously America, and you'd said it's been billed as American brewery party.
Yeah.
So there's an American brewery element. It's not just like 4th
No,
of July.
I've imported 3 different beers from America.
Did not realise that. Okay, cool. I just assumed it was like billed as that for the sake of it being 4th of July.
No. So we've got from the parish, I've got Ghost in the Machine, which is like a double dry hopped dipper, which is like phenomenal. It's like one of the most amazing dippers I've ever tried. I've got the most American beer that I think I've ever come across in my entire life.
Guns.
It's a smoothie, so it's like a smoothie sour. It's by this brewery called Imprint, and it's a birthday cake, marshmallow, chocolate brownie, pineapple, banana, peanut butter, smoothie sour.
That's ridiculous.
It's insane.
Yeah. Was it Smooge that did those crazy ones? Is it Smooge I'm thinking of?
Smoogie,
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. They do
quite
like
slimline cans, I think, weren't they?
No. Might be a different one.
Okay, but they were just mind blowing.
Yeah. These are just like insane. They're just alcoholic smoothies. You know, you can't call them beers. They're just.
Oh no. Yeah.
But it's like you couldn't get anything more American.
Yeah.
We've got another couple of craft beers, and I think I've got a keg of Sierra Nevada on just for palate cleansing.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we're putting on like these American beers just for the 4 days.
Yeah.
And when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited.
Why did we get onto American beers? Events. No, it was before that though. But anyway, regardless, I had noticed that your July listings you posted today, yesterday, it's looking nicely stacked now. It does feel like the events or the tap room is kind of just finding its flow, and it's filling up the calendar now.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we've actually getting quite a decent following for.
The quiz nights, the regular...
The karaoke.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't believe it. We have a strong karaoke entourage now.
Wow. Okay.
My mate Johnny, he comes down and does the karaoke nights, and he's got like a load of really decent equipment, sets the place up nicely. But yeah, people pile in to do karaoke. It's not. I never thought it would have been the thing that like would fill the place up. We did it on May 4th. We did a Star Wars karaoke party, and just everybody came out in full Star Wars attire. It's just the most surreal thing you've seen, like stormtroopers singing ABBA on karaoke, and like Darth Maul's walking around and Leia's.
But it's those sorts of moments that like you kind of just take stock and be like, yeah, this is why we're doing this. It's just the weirdness and the beautiful moments are what it's all about.
Yep, pretty much. But yeah, the karaoke, that'll be on this week, and we've got a couple of live events, plus we've got movie nights. The movie nights are doing really well.
I was going to say as well, yeah, movie nights feel like something that places that are looking to just get people in through the week, midweek. If you've got nothing on in the bar, slap a fucking film on. If you've got the propensity to do it, you've got like screen space or whatever. It's like
I was again Facebook Marketplace. I found someone selling this massive drop down widescreen, and it basically fills the entire scale of the actual shutter. So it's huge. It's got to be like 3 meters long by about 2 meters down. It's a massive screen. It's like absolute overkill, but it's awesome because then like people that come in and sit down and like the sat there and with the surround sound PA. And
it's a proper cinema experience. Then,
yeah, like really
big.
is.
Yeah,
really is. So yeah, it's words getting around. Things are working, and people are like asking about what's going to be on and when it's going to be on and stuff like that. So it's a promising sign.
Oh, nice. And can you give us any secret new flavours or things you're looking to introduce, or even just ideas of things that...
has got her next crazy thing lined up for production in mid-August. We've got some seasonals that we're still going to release throughout the year, but they're things that we'd released previously that we're doing once a year. But Elle's got a new flavour. She's making a carrot cake ginger beer.
Are we going to get the sort of the smoothie sour vibe, or what's the cake element going to be?
Carrot, nutmeg. She's going to use partial grain. I tasted the trial batches.
Yeah.
It blows your mind. It tastes like it literally tastes like you're drinking carrot cake. I don't know how she's done it, but she's done it.
I think Vault did a carrot sour maybe about like 5 years ago or something. I tried it, and it was actually, was it Vault or was it someone in Scandinavia? I don't know, but it was good regardless. It was like, oh, okay, that ain't meant to be good.
She has literally just taken all the ingredients of a carrot cake and slapped it in a ginger beer. It's malty, it's cakey, it's carroty, it's got the cinnamon and the nutmeg in there and the ginger, and it just tastes like a drinking a carrot cake. So that should be out mid-August time, hopefully.
Any other sort of ideas or flavours you're thinking of introducing? What about apple? Just a straight up apple and ginger beer.
We consider doing, but we brew something called cider, which is the mead cider.
With CY, isn't it?
CY. So it's fermented honey and apple together. We did a traditional and we did a blueberry version, and they both did really, really well. So
you know what? I'm so fucking stupid. I just said all of that without even considering that it's cider. But I was thinking just flavour profile wise on the apple, not so much the cider element.
I wouldn't mind doing a ginger cider, and actually like having a ginger flavoured cider rather than an apple flavoured ginger beer.
Okay, yeah. Because I mean, how much have you done in the cider side of things?
We've done it for we've done probably about 2 years now.
Okay.
It's just a labour of love, like getting 500 kilo of apples and shredding and pressing and shredding and pressing, and it's just If I could outsource it, I would at this point. But yeah, we got the carrot cake one lined up. We'll probably see the return of La Katrina in October time, which is the pumpkin spice ginger beer.
Okay.
And then we might hopefully have Sirius ready for Christmas time, which is it's golden pear and chai spice ginger beer.
Golden pear.
It's kind of like when you have like poached pears at Christmas time.
Yeah.
It's like that in a ginger beer.
Sold.
And we also do the hot mulled ginger beer at Christmas time as well.
A lot of this, I'm just shaking my head, trying to you're saying things, and I'm trying to just conceptualize what it actually would be, and then I'm just failing because it's not ever happened in my mouth before.
The mulled ginger beer goes down really well.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think a lot of it comes down to just people just need to try. People just need to kind of get out of their sort of comfort zones, and because everything I've supped tonight, I in all honesty, back in my mind, I was like, I really hope I just don't fucking say, oh, I hate ginger beer and I hate all of these.
It's all right.
But
If you did, that'd be cool.
I'm sold. I've never liked ginger beer, and I am literally a convert now. I'm an arsehole. I'll tell you if it's shit.
Mate,
believe you
me. Best feeling ever hearing it.
You can guarantee I'll tell you if I think I don't like it. But no, you've got a shockingly good array of brews here, and I think that's probably about as good a place as any to piece it out. But is there anything you wanted to touch on or give a shout out to before we close?
What have we got going on that I could think about telling people? No, other than just come down to the tap room, come down, experience what it's like. By the time we get to the end of July, we'll have 10 ginger beers on the line.
Are you stocked up at Rainville at the moment?
Stopped at
Rainville?
No.
Cool. Craft beer spot up in Bramley.
Right. Okay. No, I'll hit that up.
Yeah, Johnny down at Rainville Superstore. It is the best beer spot in apparently the world. So
awesome.
Yeah. And we're all big fans of Rainville.
I will be onto them tomorrow.
Excellent.
Yeah, I would just say if you come down, check it out, see what it's about. We've always got music going on. There's always a good vibe. It's a safe space. Just don't be a dick. That's the golden rule.
And on that bombshell.
Dude, thank you so much.